As the dust settles after both South Africa and Israel presented arguments for and against the accusation of genocide being perpetrated by the latter in Gaza, no signs that this momentous moment played out across the world has shifted the calculus on the ground, with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisting over the weekend that the war against Hamas would continue until the end and until total victory. Key among that for the PM eliminating Hamas, returning all the hostages, and ensuring that Gaza never again constitutes a threat to Israel. But with the widespread devastation of Gaza, difficulties in ensuring humanitarian access that meets the needs on the ground, and a rising death toll of over 24,000, a decision on provisional measures ordered by the International Court of Justice could be a key piece in the puzzle.
We thank South Africa for its moral leadership with the case it presented before the ICJ against Israel for genocide. We advise those who were unable until now to even say that Israel has committed grave breaches of international law, let alone hold Israel accountable, to avoid claiming some legal or moral authority to criticize South Africa for seizing the highest judicial body of our international law-based order to address one of the most important situations of our time. The lesson of the Holocaust is not that you should defend Israel when it is committing atrocities, but rather that one should stand against atrocities regardless of who commit them and who endure them.
Israel has rejected the genocide allegation, arguing that the soaring death toll was an unavoidable consequence of its battle against a militant group embedded in civilian areas.
South Africa's libelous case at the ICJ is the epitome of the UN's dystopian reality. How can it be that the Convention on the Prevention of Genocide, adopted following the genocide of the Jewish people, is now being weaponized against the Jewish state while serving the Hamas terrorists that perpetrated the massacre? Anyone who looks at the facts on the ground can see that South Africa's case is baseless. Hamas is the one that declares publicly and seeks to commit genocide against Israelis, not the other way around.
While several countries and key regional blocs have supported Pretoria's case at the ICJ, including the 57-member state Organization for Islamic Cooperation, the 22-member Arab League and individual countries, including Turkey, Brazil, Malaysia and Jordan, among others, several countries have objected. The United States calling the effort meritless, the UK unjustified and wrong, Germany called it political instrumentalization, while Canada said it did not accept the premise of the case. All this with 85% of the population displaced, and electricity blackout persisting, while occupancy rates at hospitals still functional are at 206%.
The life they once had is gone, and probably gone for such a long time. So there's a degree of shock and there's a degree of despair, and I think there's a sort of a hopelessness that's there as well, because they don't see any answers to what it is they then face ahead.
The UN Secretariat said last week it was watching the outcome of the ICJ case, but that the court was independent and that the Secretary-General had no influence over its decision-making. And as this war grinds on beyond the 100-day mark, what is clear is that Gaza will never be the same again. Over 160,000 buildings damaged or destroyed. That's over 55% of all buildings in the Strip, amid widespread hunger, deprivation, trauma and death. And with 136 Israeli hostages still held by Hamas, their condition unknown. An unbearable scenario for those waiting, watching, hoping, in a sea of so much anguish, grief and despair. Sherman Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.